All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of Gar Capital. It is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. July 26th, 2024. It is the last Friday of July. Ready going into August next Thursday. Imagine that. We got a lot of going on next week as well. So we're going to go over that this weekend on our weekly recap and preview of the week. So if you miss anything today, don't worry too much. Turn on notifications and subscribe to our channel, and you will see our weekly recap on Sunday. And we're going to preview the upcoming week. We have the Fed on Wednesday. We have Apple earnings. We have AMD earnings. So a lot going on. And I think we have a jobs report next week. Let me make sure if that's the case. It's Friday morning and I'm already thinking about next week. Yes, indeed. We have a jobs number on Friday. We have unemployment claims. That's every Thursday. We have the FOMC. Again, this is the rate decision. The expectation is no cut, but we might get a cut. Who knows? Cross your fingers. Monday and Tuesday, not so much. But again, I'll go into details on this weekend's video. Glad to be with you again. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. And like these videos. Appreciate it. Dow futures are up 225 points. Overnight bounce. NASDAQ up 180. S&P up 38. And the Russell's up 1.24%, which is great news for those who are long IWM like I am. The VIX is up 5%. The dollar is down 0.05%. 10-year treasury yields continue to slide 4.219%. Do we get to 4%? Maybe the Fed gives us a little boost next week. We'll see. Crude oil is down 0.77%. Gold bouncing off yesterday's fall, up 1%. Gasoline down 0.43%. Silver up 0.16%. Copper is flat this morning. In terms of the Forex land, anything that stands out, really the Aussie dollar up 0.37%, up 24 pips. Bitcoin bouncing, again, still looking for that 70K level, 68,175. We're up 4.26%. Weekends are for crypto. That's all I'm saying. 32.65 on Ethereum, up 3.5%. And that's where we are. So let's go over yesterday's action. We traded Apple puts yesterday. We caught them. We actually got out pretty perfectly. Right around here. This was what, let me see if I can bring up the 5-minute chart so we can have it time-stamped. All right, so this is yesterday's price action. We got to the lows at 4, but we didn't close at 4. So what level did we get out? This is 10 in the morning. Let's see it. All right, and this was a tough one because I was trying to get a full bag on it for everybody. 10:16 in the morning. Yeah, I mean, we were at 70%, and that's pretty much where we bounced. So let's see if I can bring this up. 10 in the morning. Yeah, right here is where we closed. 10:16, where I sent it out. Right at 214.90. And this is where I said, I'm just concerned for an oversold bounce team at 10:17. Take the money. And then oversold bounce we got. I'm just so relieved that we got that because I was concerned that we would get that bounce. So let's go over NASDAQ on why I say that. Let's take a look at the weekly chart, and you could see it here. That right there, 18,876. That is your 20-week moving average. I also posted a note on that on the watches to charts. This is for our paid subscribers. Let me see if I can bring it up here. NASDAQ futures, this is at 10:21 in the morning. NASDAQ futures just tagged the 20-week moving average. That's a key level since October of last year. And we've only had 2 weekly candles close below that moving average. It's time to start buying calls and going long here, team. Bear flushes are fun sometimes, but they do not last. It's still a bull market. And that price was at 18,966 when we sent it. We are now at 19,169. Victory lap? Not yet. Let's not get too excited. I got an alert above 250. If that does break, guys, we have a lot more to make up. Just to retrace the fall from Wednesday, we need to get to 750. So we got about 600 points to make up in terms of NASDAQ. I'm fully confident that we can make the most of it. Right now, we don't need to do much. I'm going to wait for 250 to break. We are up this morning, so we would need some kind of really great short squeeze news in order to get that pop. More than likely, again, I think the expectation really is right around that 310 level. That was a level I was watching for a minute. It's right around here, 310. This is where we popped and then we fell. So maybe above 400, that would be a next target if we get above 250. That was the wick highs of yesterday. That would be very bullish if we can break yesterday's highs. The problem is on a Friday, July, volume is already drying up. We're getting into the end of the month. We're getting into more earnings next week. I don't know if we're going to get that continuation. So again, I'm tempering expectations. The good news is that the names like Nvidia that we bought the dip on in terms of options, that's pushing higher. That's up about 3% this morning. So really great news to see. Goal here is to get 117.80. You can see that's that kind of level of support that we had from last week. Again, I just want to recapture that. We do have a gap to fill at 121.84. That would be the best bet. But 117.80, I think that will get us around 40% on our calls, and I'll just probably take it there. Real quick on IWM, because we have calls as well. We have the 225 calls, I believe, for next week. 224.17. Yeah, they're for next week. 224.17. That was the level I had to break. We broke it overnight. But once we crack that again, we're pretty much near in the money. I should be able to catch that. So IWM has been very good to us lately. Small cap summer is still in effect. Let's take a look at the S&P. And I also got some charts up, so you guys can check it out on the live market blog. I started posting a little bit about it. Some seasonality charts here for volatility index. Again, you can see rise in volatility as we get into August. So let's keep an eye on the VIX. Again, I'm going to go into this a little more detail this weekend since, time constraints. The market's going to open in about 24 minutes. Take a look at the Russell. This is compared to the S&P. And you can see that little break moving. Again, look at that trend line, 3.5-year trend line versus the S&P. IWM SPY, the ratio, and we're breaking out. So we got some room on small cap. Small cap summers is still in effect. Stocks rarely peak in July. Said that a couple times. So again, only 3 times throughout history since 1950 have stocks have peaked, meaning the highest price was in July. Usually it's in December, January, and then November. But for the most part, you don't get peaks. You don't get tops in the summer. So again, that's just historically speaking. But on a couple of charts here, look at QQQ on a key trend line since October 2023. You can see it right here. It's been stuck there, or it's bouncing because we're up this morning. But keep an eye on that level right around 457. That's right, that trend line. SPY, same deal. I know everyone likes to talk about SPY. We're right on that trend line as well. So 530, I would say like 540 is right on that trend line. Again, been there since October of 2023. Very similar to Qs. IWM bounced off that trend line twice, April and June into July. Now we're testing the top end of this range. I think we get it. IWM has more to go. Here's the semiconductors for those who want to trade it. I was talking about AMD yesterday about calls, but they report next week, so it's going to be a little expensive. We did Nvidia instead. Excuse me. Same, very similar trend line to Nasdaq and S&P. As we know, Nvidia is being weighed more into the index itself. So again, kind of moves in the same direction, at least relatively speaking. And SMH is right on that 236.50 support. Nice daily candle here, hammer candle. I expect semiconductors to bounce from this trend line. So we will see what we get. Let's see where we are. RTY pushing a little more. That's great news. I have IWM right there. Are we pushing higher now? Just want to make sure. Yeah. Palantir bouncing as well. Let's take a look at the 4-hour rather quickly. Yeah, look at that. Reject, breakout, pulls back, rejects, breaks out, rejects, breaks out, retests. So this is our support now. This was our previous resistance, and we're bouncing off it very nicely. We were just consolidating for a bit, but an ugly flush, obviously. Let's see if we get that recapture. Nothing has changed really for me. 31.38 is still the gap to fill on Palantir. We're looking for that. I believe they report earnings next in a couple weeks. August. I think I had it here. Hold on a second. Let me see the earnings date for Palantir. Here we go. Palantir reports on the 14th of August, Mara at August 8th, Robinhood on the 7th, and Upstart on the 8th, because these are the options I have open. So I wanted to make sure for everybody. All right, I think everyone is pretty much up to date now. That's what I'm thinking, right? Hope everyone's all good this morning. Good morning, everybody. Let's go and take a look here at Intel. Last time I traded Intel, it wasn't pretty. Lost on that trade, unfortunately. Pop and then drop, gap filled, of course, after the fact that I get out. Two gaps have been filled. How about that? So looks like we're testing that support again. 29.72. If that breaks, I'm actually would be short on it. But here on Intel, this is slop. This is not much to do here. If anything, you're leaning short at 29.72. Apple calls. Apple reports next week. That's the concern I have. So best bet is to wait it out on that end. We did puts, we got out, thankfully. Use 215 as your support moving forward. If we broke above 225 on Apple, that's above the 20-day. That'd be really great news. I'd assume that we'd move a lot higher on people positioning for calls ahead of the earnings event into next week. 237.23 being the recent highs. 246.61 is your golden Fibonacci level. That is the Fibonacci extension. That would be your next resistance. Happy Friday, Bitcoin and Mara. That's right. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Still on the trend line, still waiting for 70K. So this is Bitcoin futures. Beautiful bounce. Again, we fell, not like we haven't in the market, but the trend is still in play. I feel confident in Bitcoin moving forward. 70K is coming. And in terms of Mara, let's take a look at it. Nice little bounce. I want to get above 2150, but we got a lot more to go. So if we can get this crypto weekend cracking ahead of earnings for Mara, maybe we can get a little something going. But as of right now, 2150 bring the level that we need to break. All right. IWM, NVIDIA. Just watching the trades that we have open. So, all right. I think everyone is pretty much set on what we got. It's going to be a quick call. Lovely. RTY right above that 23.6 fib at 22.67. Very, very good stuff here. So I'm going to be watching very closely on the small caps. I'm going to try to squeeze as much as we can. Maybe we can get in the money on IWM calls. Since they're a little more short term, we may get a little more of a boost. I really want to make this a really strong week to end the week because the first couple of days were absolutely awful. So again, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. We'll see what we get. AMD. Just a reminder, AMD reports next week. So you're paying for that that premium and that IV, implied volatility. Me and Masterclass did AMD yesterday on puts. 140.94 was my support. It sliced it. Now it's bouncing above it. See this level right here? That was your previous support. This is the previous breakout. Worst case scenario for AMD, I have 122.48. Again, very similar to the channel that we had for Tesla. And we broke down below this trend line. So 141, if we can close above that, that would be a really great sign. If we just closed at this price, we're fine. But again, we need to hold that. And then if we can hold that support, AMD's next target is 153 with earnings. That'll recapture the 200-day. So let's give it a little more time on AMD just for the fact that there's earnings tomorrow. Here was the trade for Masterclass on AMD. Guys, this thing was down 91%. 91% on Monday because we had that Tuesday because we had that big push higher on Monday. So like I said, my bear bias this week wasn't looking great. This is on the 22nd. And then I said it was a dead cat bounce. I was right. And we got the move that we wanted. Thank God. That was a tough hold, guys. That really was. So, I think I know a lot of people say, oh, I want these massive returns, but you got to be patient. They're very difficult to come by. So again, if you're trying to make maximum return, you have to either push maximum risk or you got to be really patient. One of the two. So 40% rule is always what people enjoy. They want to take their money and move on. Yes, the mathematics sometimes, well, you need to make 70%. There's always math in it, and that's fine. But it really depends on the person. Depends on how greedy or how fearful you are, right? Like how you want to trade. So again, all I can do is tell you what I'm seeing and tell you exactly what I think is going to happen. But other than that, it's really up to you guys. A couple of points can really change your life if you risk enough at the end of the day. Tesla and Google. So Google pulled back on the possibility of ChatGPT's own search engine. That was a headline that we sent out on the blog. 167.70 is your 100-day moving average. If that breaks, we need to look for 161.38. Now, this was part of the watch list. We talked about this trend line resistance here. then we pulled back. But again, it had earnings. So instead of Google, we did Apple. And that's fine. Apple worked out. So Google will be part of the watch list. I want to see how the weekly closes because we are right on the 20-week moving average. Very important day for Google. We're either going to obviously buy the bounce or we're just going to sell a little more down to this gap fill. We will see. Tesla. Yep. Tesla was one on my watch list that I've been wanting to trade. It has not broken my level, 226.51. Got close, but it rejected. Still a gap to fill at 236.52. This gap here at 213.65 has not filled, but we did break out 2 candles twice. Well, one was a pullback, so we got back below. I would like us to see if we can close the day above around 222, 221. And then again, we got earnings already out of the way on Tesla. This is going to be a fun one to trade, in my opinion. I say we go higher on Tesla. Thoughts on LUV, which is the Southwest Airlines. So apparently the open seating that's done with. That was kind of one of the cool things about Southwest Airlines was the fact that you could seat anywhere. You don't have assigned seating, but that's changed now. And Southwest Airlines is not doing much. Pretty much consolidating on the 4-hour chart. Not much to do there, but downside trend on the weekly. Let's expand it and just continue a flush. So American Airlines tested COVID lows. Could Southwest Airlines do the same? Now, the problem with Southwest Airlines is the volume isn't the best. And this is some volatility, obviously, due to earnings. I didn't see their earnings call. But they are up about a quarter, 25 cents, 20 cents this morning. So maybe 1%. I think there's better opportunities out there. There's not much to do there, in my opinion. Or even buy the stock. Nah. Still time to make the NVIDIA calls. NVIDIA does have more room if you can break above 118. So if you get in, more than likely, if we get in if 117.80 hits, the team's going to get out. Anyways, that'll be above 40 or a good amount because the expiry is on the 9th. So we'll probably catch that rather quickly. But no, I would wait for that break of at least 117.80. And then you can target the gap fill if you want. So it really just depends on the person. Let's see how we open, but there is a gap to fill here at 121.86. I have the 120 calls for August 9th. So let's see. This balance, obviously, we're going to be in profit. The question is how much. So I just don't want you getting in and then we're getting out like we're selling to you. That's not cool. We don't want that. So 117.80, that would be the target that you're looking for if you wanted to get in. Was it Empresas? Sorry. Amazon. Sorry if I butchered that name. All right. Amazon reports earnings too. I want to say it's next week or the week after. Just consolidating, breakout, consolidating. This one was a tough one too. I remember I had the 210 calls a couple weeks ago. In terms of this is very choppy. Got to get above at least 189, I guess. But then by that time, we'll probably be within earnings. So I would say rather neutral on Amazon. I think Amazon goes higher over time, over the end of the year. But short term, skip it. Ain't much there. Sorry, Roberto. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your morning. I will see you guys this weekend for a weekly video. Got a lot to cover. I know you guys are excited for the Fed. I know you guys are excited for earnings. We got so much to talk about. It's going to be a great week. I can't wait to get to it. So let's finish up strong on Friday today. And the idea is just to keep it moving. Let's see what we get. Have a great rest of your morning, guys. Cheers all.